Hey everyone, just a quick note to say this story was written by Gutter Press Tales. Let's begin. If anyone ever tells you kids imagine things, they've never worked in a primary school. Kids don't imagine. They observe. They see things long before adults do, mostly because we're too busy clock watching, stressing, or trying to remember whether we left the washing machine running. Kids notice everything, and the children at St. Ryder's noticed him first. I work as a lunchtime supervisor. It's not glamorous, but it pays enough to keep the lights on. And honestly, I like watching the kids play. Their world is so small and safe, except when it isn't. The first time I heard one of them mention him was maybe 3 weeks ago. I was standing near the benches at the back of the playground, watching Leo and his friends kick a football around. Nothing unusual. Until I heard 2 Year 3s whispering behind me. "He's there again," one of them said. "Don't look. He hates when you look." I almost laughed. I thought they were talking about one of the Year 6 boys who liked to loom around and pretend he was scary. I turned to ask what they meant, but both girls had gone quiet, staring straight ahead with that uncomfortable, blank expression kids get when they're trying not to cry. I followed their gaze. Nothing. Just the fence, the trees behind it, and the old climbing frame that had been condemned twice but was still somehow standing. No man, no lurking teenager, nothing. I shrugged it off and honestly forgot about it until the following week. That was when the drawings started. Every break time, I'd find little scraps of paper on the floor. Some were shoved under benches. Some were inside coat pockets that clearly didn't belong to the child wearing them. Some were left on my desk in the staff room, which was weird, because no child should have been in there. Every picture was the same. A tall figure standing behind the playground fence. No face, no hands. Long arms hanging at its sides. Always drawn in thick black crayon, pressed hard enough to tear the paper. Always watching the children. I brought the drawings to the head teacher, Mrs. Dawkins, expecting her to say something reasonable like, "That's concerning. Let's bring in the school counsellor." Instead, she told me it was seasonal imagination, and that kids always get strange ideas before holidays. Halloween was coming up after all. But it wasn't Halloween yet, and the drawings kept appearing, and the kids kept whispering. By the time half-term rolled around, there wasn't a single child on that playground who didn't know the name the younger ones had given him. They called him the Tall One. Not Tall Man. Not Slender Man. Just the Tall One. And the way they said it made my stomach twist. Because children don't whisper about make-believe things. They scream them proudly across the yard and chase each other with imaginary lightsabers. They don't tremble. They don't avoid corners. They don't keep glancing at the fence as if someone is waiting there. Unless something is. On the Monday after the break, everything felt heavier. The playground is normally a wall of noise, shouting, laughing, screaming, arguing. That day, the kids hovered in tight groups. They stayed close to the building. No one went near the back fence. It was around 12:40 when I realised I hadn't seen Jamie. He was a quiet kid, small for Year 4. The sort of child who always lingered around me. Not in a clingy way, just orbiting. He'd tell me facts about space or insects, and he had this way of smiling without showing his teeth that made him look shy and proud all at once. So when I couldn't spot him, I felt the first real flicker of unease. I scanned the playground. I checked the bench area. I checked the reading corner under the awning. I even checked the toilets, calling his name down the echoing corridor. No answer. The other children noticed too. A few glanced at the fence. One girl started crying. Another said quietly, "He called Jamie over." I felt something cold creep across my shoulders. "Who called him?" I asked. Their eyes slid toward the trees. The sky darkened with clouds. The air felt thick, like the moment before a thunderstorm. Every instinct inside me told me to get all the children inside, bolt the doors, and pretend it was a fire drill. But I couldn't leave Jamie. Not if he was out there, scared or hurt. I walked toward the back of the playground, trying to look calm, even though my pulse was pounding in my ears. The grass behind the fence was overgrown, tangled and wild. It led down into a patch of woods the council always promised to clean up, but never did. "Jamie?" I called. Nothing. And then something moved. Not a person. Not an animal. Something taller, shifting between the trees. Just a ripple of motion. A disturbance in the shape of the world behind the fence. I felt my throat tighten. "Jamie!" I called again, louder. Still nothing. But one of the younger kids whispered behind me, "You shouldn't shout. He'll hear you." I spun around, ready to tell them not to sneak up on me. But the child was staring into the trees with wide, unblinking eyes. "He listens when it's quiet," they said. "That's how he chooses." The wind picked up, carrying the smell of damp leaves and something else. Something metallic, almost sweet. My skin prickled. The feeling wasn't fear exactly. It was dread. Heavy and inevitable. The kind you don't reason your way out of. I unclipped the fence latch and stepped through. I don't know why. Maybe because I couldn't leave a child alone out there. Maybe because the thought of doing nothing felt worse. The ground was soft and uneven. My shoes sank into mud with every step. The trees swallowed the light. I moved slowly, calling Jamie's name in a voice that grew shakier each time. Then I saw it. The scrap of red fabric caught on a bramble. Jamie's coat. I grabbed it, tugged it free, and felt my whole body go cold. The branch wasn't just snagged on the coat. It was bent downwards, like something tall had brushed past it. "Jamie," I whispered. A rustle answered me. I looked up, and I saw him. Not clearly, not enough to swear by in court, but enough for my brain to register the shape. Something impossibly tall, stretched and thin, standing just beyond the nearest cluster of trees. No face, just height, just presence. As if someone had drawn the outline of a man and then forgotten to fill it in. I froze. The tall one didn't move. He didn't tilt his head. He didn't step forward. He only stood there, watching me. Waiting. I didn't breathe. I don't think I could. And then faintly, somewhere behind me, a child screamed. Everything shattered. I ran. I don't even know how I got back to the playground, but I remember the sound of children crying and a teacher shouting instructions and the playground doors slamming shut as someone pulled the fire alarm lever in blind panic. Jamie was found 20 minutes later. He was behind the bike shed, curled into a tight ball, shivering violently. He didn't speak for hours. When he finally did, his voice was so small, I had to lean in to hear it. "He said I'd be told too," Jamie whispered. "If I went with him. He said he could stretch me out." My blood ran cold. Jamie hasn't been back to school since, and the children still whisper about the tall one. They say he's closer now. They say he waits by the fence. They say he remembers who looked at him. I don't believe them. At least I tell myself I don't. But yesterday, when I was locking up after hours, I caught a glimpse of something long and dark between the trees. Watching. Waiting. And I swear, just for a moment, the shadow straightened. Hi everyone, thanks for listening. A massive thank you to my top tier members. Mark Mathern, 7322 and Ever New, and of course the Corvus Vale residents and Patreon members mentioned in the description. You're all awesome. I can't thank you all enough for sticking with me through this. Whatever it is that's happening with the channel, I'm hoping everything will be back to normal very soon. If anyone would still like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon. Different tiers have different perks, so go check that out if you have a minute. The link is in the description. If you're on a mobile or tablet, please consider hyping the video. It pushes it a tiny bit further out into the YouTube wild. Fun fact, I got a C in GCSE Science and YouTube thinks I automated this channel. I still don't even know where the tab key is, but apparently I'm a mastermind. Good night.